All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. And still here in Texas. Gosh, maybe I should quit saying that, but it's my favorite state at this point. It's my second home. I love Tennessee, John. I do love Tennessee, but Texas is a lot of fun. John, introduce yourself, if you would, to the audience today.
Well, first off, Shannon, welcome. Welcome here to Texas. We're happy to have you.
Yes.
John Kealey, Diversified Payment. So we're a payment processing company. We cover the whole U.S. We're based right here in Texas. Only live about an hour away from Fort Worth. And
okay.
We actually work with a lot of the businesses right up and down the street here as you're walking around.
Nice.
They're also customers that we service.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about Diversified. So how did Diversified sort of find the shed space all of a sudden? And because we want to do some big things, right?
Sure.
In the shed industry.
Yeah, it's funny. So we, Diversified Payments, we're involved in all the type of payments that I think everyone in the shed space uses. Mobile processing like Square, or online processing, maybe like a Stripe gateway or something. And we do a lot with auto finance. So we got into the shed space by buying a shed. So I was actually a shed buyer at one point. And I financed it. So I did the RTO program. And once I got involved in that program, I started looking at it going, wow, this is so familiar to me with everything that we're doing now with auto finance and our other customers that are, out on the road, towing companies, pest control companies that have a mobile or they're taking a payment over the phone. So I really saw a fit in it. And I started really researching the industry a little bit, trying to find information. I was on LinkedIn. There was a group. It wasn't really too active of a group. And it was really hard to find. And then, ironically, I came across your podcast one day.
Lord help him.
Yeah. And I checked it out. I was like, wow, check this guy out. This is cool. And I started following your podcast, and I think, you and I connected. I was on the way to the airport.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things in the back of my mind, and all of a sudden I got the message, the email, and I looked at it while I was driving, which I shouldn't have done. And I said, I've got to call this guy. And I called you. We had the conversation. And I think I told you at that time, we're such a fit for this industry.
Yes.
And, we're entrepreneurs. We come from small business background as well. So we know what it takes on both ends. You know what I mean? Especially for the end user, the merchant or the business owner that's going to use it. We know the points of pain that they're having every single day. And probably the overwhelming amount of information or limited information that, is available to them. I think in the payment processing space, a lot of companies like Square, Stripe, these guys have evolved because of the need for people just to have a clear, concise, hey, here's my payment. I'm going to pay 2.75%, and that's it. And it's free, and there's no fees, no nothing out there. And people just, it's easy. And we've evolved into, like I was talking to you earlier about, this microwave age. We want it now. We want it right now. We want it today, and we're going to push the button and buy now, and that's it. Yep. And, if you really look into payment processing and the fees and the cost of processing a credit card, I mean, it's overwhelming, Yeah. And, we're a small company. We probably process about $20 million a month in payments. And I can tell you firsthand, we're a relationship-built company. So every one of our customers we have a personal relationship with, or one of our reps have a personal relationship with. And most of those people, if not every single one of them, has no idea when our first meeting, when we go over their current fees and rates and stuff, they have no idea what half of the fees are on there. Yeah. And there's a lot of junk. So, once we get involved with that kind of analysis with them, we build the relationship. And, obviously being here in Texas, being cowboys, we follow that cowboy code, So we like to do business on a handshake. We're old school in that fashion. And our word's our bond, So we stand by it, even if it costs us money, at sometimes.
That's great, man. I certainly have appreciated getting to know you. I'm going to be using your services, so certainly want to be able to promote your services. And I think that what you're doing is great. It's needed. And as I travel around the country, it's definitely a topic that a lot of people come up with. And, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here with payment processing? And I would think that maybe like 75% of the people I know are, Stripe and Square. And I've used Square before, and PayPal services or something like that. But you're able to offer and bring something to the table, and especially as almost kind of like a David and Goliath, like we talked about, kind of mentality. You're almost looking at like, wait a minute, I'm still trying to break into this. You're established, don't get me wrong, but break into this on that type of level. But what you can do is specific to the shed industry. Tell me, if you're a shed manufacturer, you're a shed dealer. Some, it's different models. Some guys wholesale purchase and then they just retail them out the door. Some are on consignment. So it might be a manufacturer who has 5, 10, 30, 50, 400 lots. How do you help that manufacturer who owns that buildings, those buildings, who process those sales through those dealers or wholesalers who might just buy and process those sales themselves?
Sure. When we're talking about the dealer, at the dealer level, I think being able to integrate with maybe a CRM or something that they're using to control that data, which is the most important thing at that level.
Yeah.
We've got the ability to go ahead and do that. The other thing is a lot of the technologies that we have with texting and email, invoicing, being able to bring all the payments reporting into one centralized hub for these guys to see all the payments across all stores, obviously with different IDs for each location. But if we're talking about just a single shed seller location, for example, being that I've bought a shed before and I've done the RTI, I know the program.
Right.
I'm going to get my quote, I'm going to get my monthly payment amount, and I'm going to be asked for that monthly payment. And lots of times I think these guys are probably taking a check number over the phone or a credit card number over the phone and sending out a DocuSign document to be, e-sign. So we've got all that built into one in our platform, so from right within there, you can go ahead and send out your agreement. You can get that agreement signed, the payments securely taken in there. We do both ACH and credit card processing too. So, if they want to take a check versus a credit card, that works. The other side of it is just anything else down the road. If they're, we had spray foam added on to the bottom of our deal after the fact that we had ordered the shed. So, with our system, you're able to go ahead and send out another invoice via email or text. Customer clicks on it, click of a button, they go ahead and make their payment right there securely.
So if your customer is fine, and they sell a lot of other things on the shed lot a lot of times, it could be this could bleed over into carport sales, metal buildings, furniture, swing sets, play sets, portable decks, things like that. You're saving them on the bottom line altogether. So what happens now? What happens now with a Square or Stripe account? How do those percentages get paid? Do they get paid by the dealer? Are they getting paid by the customer? Or is the dealer typically passing that on to the customer? What's been your experience?
Sure. Yeah. So with Stripe and Square, those guys have like a flat rate model. And, Square typically pushes 2.65%. That's for a swipe transaction that's in person. And I think in the shed space, I don't think there's a whole lot of in-person unless someone goes into a dealer and makes a payment. I know from my own experience and talking to some other, guys in the industry, most of this stuff's done over the phone or via email or something. You fall in a much higher price category, 3.5%, 3.65%, 3.75%. And that's billed to the merchant, so whoever's collecting the payment. And that's going to come out daily or monthly, get billed to them. Our system, with diversified payments, we've got a lot of different options for that. So
I'm going to scoot that in just a little.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, the customer's able to, apples to apples, we could compare to those guys to a Square or a Stripe. We're going to be 1% less, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
If you look,
if you're processing a lot of money, it's
yeah. I mean, if I have an example fresh in my head because I talked to a matter of fact a shed hauler just a couple of days ago about this. And they're doing $60,000 a year in payments. Well, 1%, it's about $7,200 a year in savings. Apples to apples with Square, and that's with them still paying a fee. But we have another option where you can pass those fees back to the customer compliantly and zero out your bill. Now, if that same hauler was to go ahead and pass those fees back to the customer, that's $24,000 a year savings. I mean, that's real money.
Yeah.
Real money that everybody could use,
And to find that information out? It's good to do a demo, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Where would they find, I know we're early on in the episode, but where would they find a way to do the demo? And I think it's important to note, we've decided to partner together here with Shed Geek Podcast. So not only we're going to be using your product, but we're going to push it out and want to be able to bring exposure to the whole industry so that they can, this is a way to save for the whole industry and obviously you're going to do the legwork. I'm sorry about that. I know I get the benefit of being like the guy who helps you push it out or whatever, but I'm humbled in that approach. But I love what you guys are doing. I loved it from the get-go. From the minute that we did the demo, I was like, yeah, these guys are the real deal. I love what they're doing. I think this can help the industry. And that's something that's very important to me, right? Where do they contact you? Well, they can contact me. I'm going to, I'll send out a link we normally do a weekly newsletter and talk about who was on the show, give links to your website and things like that. So we'll put some stuff on there, but generally speaking, where would they go?
Yeah, diversifiedpayments.com is the website, and we've got a contact us form, phone number on there. Pick up the phone, call us. We'd love to talk to you. We're all about the personal relationship. So, unlike some of these big companies, you're just filling out a form and a couple of days later getting approval. We want to know what your goals are.
Yes.
Kind of really explain to you the payment processing, which it's bigger than a lot of people. I think a lot of business owners take it for granted, when they're doing payment processing, but it's a major part of that.
And there's savings there.
Yeah, it's a major part of business.
Yeah, I think that just having something available so that it's not just a check, or maybe not everybody's just, rolling out greenbacks to you, coming in to buy a $10,000 shed or something. And you can build this integration with RTO companies that already have software, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we do a lot in auto finance, subprime auto finance, which I think is similar to the rent to own and the buy now, pay later customer. So it's really the same model, collect on a monthly payment. Our technology's got the ability to send out payment reminders, automated payment reminders. So before a customer becomes a 30-day late, they can get an automated payment reminder a week before that your payment's coming up, click here to make a payment. And I think right now, text to pay's evolved. It's becoming more and more popular. A lot of people.
It is, yeah.
We were doing email, up until a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I know my email. I'm sure yours is flooded as well. I've got to go. If I miss checking my email for one day, I've got to go back and spend a day trying to scroll back there and just find something I missed. So I'm not going to see a bill if I got one in there.
I think I'm guilty of that right now. Yeah. You just reminded me.
Right. But, my text message inbox is pretty inundated as well. But I know if I get a text on the spot, I see it right there, and it's just a much better,
Well, the texting platform, I partner with a company, not to steal your thunder here, but called Lead Ferno. They basically add a widget to the bottom of your website where you can text immediately. You add you put their app on your phone, and you can try it out anytime. You guys, you should try it out to test me out on this. Gosh, I hope this doesn't go bad. But you can go onto my website. You can look at that little text me here, and it'll send me a text message and say you have a new message. I'll go to my app, and then I'll communicate back and forth off the website. Well, your ability to keep them on the website and communicate increases your potential to sell dramatically. So I think they said like 85% retention rate in terms of like texting.
Sure.
So like you said, texting, even for your bills and things like that, it's convenience, right? Microwave nation. That's what we're doing. I want it now. Yeah, I got to pay my bill, but let me just get on and text this information over real quick, and it's done. It's not like what we maybe should be doing to some extent. It's going back like mom did and sit there and balance the checkbook. And it was a process. Right, you know what I mean? It was like I got to sit down to pay bills.
Yes.
And now it's like, that bill's due when
I remember it all so well. My mom and dad sitting at the dinner table. And
don't bother us. We're trying to think now.
Stack of bills and the checkbook, writing them out, putting them in the envelope, mailing everything out. And
the world is changing. I mean, maybe not always for the good, but it's definitely convenience. I mean, we talk about online sales and online sales platforms on the industry, on the podcast a lot because of the industry. And that's because a lot of people are deciding to shop that way. Technology is becoming paramount in terms of daily life. You know, like it or not, unfortunately it's becoming part of it. So then what's the alternative to how do we get involved? Get involved with a company who can give you a demo and build a relationship with you so that you understand. I would love, I know they need to do a demo. I just really want you to expand on how they're going to save. You know what I mean? Sure. I think that's what people want to know is how are you going to save me money? And they got to.
I think eliminating those fees, like we talked about, I mean, we've been in the business now since 2008, so 14 years going on 15 now. And we were there when there was only one pricing model, you know, and we'd walk in the door and we'd visit with someone and we'd show them a savings of 10 to 15%, you know. Well, like you and I were talking, Geico, you know, they had the little gecko out there. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars you know, pushing 15% savings, you know, and obviously it was a successful campaign because you still see it today. I mean, that thing's been running for years.
Yes.
Now we've got the ability to save 100%, you know, on your bill and eliminate the credit card processing fees altogether, which it's a real
That's a
number.
lot for shed manufacturers and it's shed sellers. Number. Yeah.
I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I'm on the road a lot. You know, I've rodeoed for years and traveled from Maine to Montana. My office was, even though we have an office, my office was mostly mobile inside, you know, my truck while we were traveling. And the beauty of that is we get to stop in and meet with people as well. You know, we see a lot of customers face to face, which is really awesome, you know, in that aspect of it. But
what's your history, man? Like, you're such an interesting dude. Like, what got you into this space? I'm sure it's just kind of like a guy who starts in RTO, starts in sheds, starts in hauling. You know, there's some second and third generation guys out there, but for the most part, there's a path that leads you down this direction. How'd you enter this space?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was in finance. I was in commercial finance for many years, so we did a lot of commercial buildings and commercial construction loans back in about 2007, 2008 when everything fell apart.
Yeah.
Kind of sitting there.
It was rough.
Yeah, twiddling my thumbs when we had a bank meeting and they gave us a list of literally all the industries that they weren't going to finance anymore, which pretty much put us out of business.
Yeah.
And my rep was with Wells Fargo, and he said, hey, you know, you ought to think about merchant processing, merchant services. And I'm sitting there going, what the heck is this? I've never heard. Didn't even know this was an industry, you know.
Yeah.
And I got started in it, and back then, knocking on doors, just, you know, kind of really learning the business from the ground up.
Yeah.
And throughout my, you know, rodeoing and traveling, I started to find this little niche a little bit more. You know, the mobile processing was before Square Mobile existed, you know, and back then people were more accustomed to bringing cash. You'd go to a rodeo and you'd pay your entry fees or you'd pay your ticket fees cash. Everybody just, you know, you expected to pay cash. And all of a sudden now, you know, everything started to evolve. And I was right there when it was happening. More and more people are going to cards, you know, even the restaurants that we have, you know, a lot of guys, pizza restaurants and fast food restaurants, they would tell us we got in the restaurant business because it was a cash business, you know.
Yeah.
And now it's 95%, you know, cards.
Right.
I can tell you right now, if you check my pockets, I don't have a penny in either one.
Yeah, well, I don't either.
I've got a dozen credit cards in my back
pocket. That's not unusual for me. It's one thing to gain a penny and lose one. I got to gain one first,
right,
John. But no, the same way. You know, even the way I communicate is online. I mean, using the wallet app so much, and you know, just trying to find different ways. It's not just the same. I'll leave home now, and I'll be gone for 3, 4, 5 days, and I won't have any cash on me.
Right.
And you think there's no way I would have done that. And there's some people who will say you're still crazy to do that. And it is a little scary to rely on those services because what if you're so far away and something happens? But what could happen? I mean, the services are becoming more paramount than cash.
You know, I saw, as I was coming up here, I saw, I don't know what, something on social media, and it was somebody posted a picture of a Starbucks, and there was a sign right up there, and it said, no cash.
No cash.
This is credit only, and I see it more and more.
Yeah.
I see it more and more.
I had it happen to me one time in Myrtle Beach. The went down to the hotel, and we were like, we checked in on a card and just wanted to buy a soda at their shop or whatever, and they were like, I'm sorry, we can't take cash.
Sure.
It's like, what? You can't do, and then immediately I'd turn into a patriot, and I'm like, this is legal tender. I don't know. And then she's like, and then you realize this poor lady behind the counter is like, sir, I'm sorry. I can't, I can't take cash, and it's like, okay, but it is becoming more prevalent, right?
When I was younger, I was in the vending machine business, and that's all cash, at the time.
Yeah.
And we had a bunch of trucks out servicing, filling routes, and you'd come back at the end of the day. I mean, the accountability wasn't there. You're always going to be off by a couple bucks, couple cents, what happened, and you're at the liberty of the driver to tell you, the story of what happened. But I think nowadays that's a big push for a lot of these businesses. They don't want to have the cash there just for the accountability measures.
Yeah.
They can track it and see exactly dollar for dollar what came in. So can the government, too.
Sure.
At that.
Sure, and it's scary. I mean, let's address that, rather than avoid it, hit it head on. What about for the folks that are skeptics that say, it seems like there's a lot of money tied up in something that's not real and tangible that I can't touch. What's going on here?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I mean,
it's everywhere, though,
It's
right?
everywhere, and we're at the mercy of big tech, really, to ensure that it's there. It's moving from your bank account, really, to an app that's processing that payment, and there's still banks involved in it, so there's that security. I don't know that I would feel comfortable, really having digital wallets and some more of the technology that's out there, but I'm kind of old-fashioned with that stuff too, so I like to present a credit card. One of the things I will tell you with our technology is there's a new thing now called, well, not really new, but it's called tokenization. So you can actually securely store a customer's card on file. So let's just say you're an RTO finance provider, right? And you're going to send that text message bill out to a customer, and that customer gets it. Well, instead of, they're on the road driving, everybody's moving now, and they don't want to have to reach in their wallet and pull out a card and look at that and try to drive,
Yeah.
Well, the tokenization will have already saved that card on file for them.
Yeah.
It encrypts it, so it's totally secure. And now that it can say, use last card, card on file. Just click yes, boom, your payment's made. So it's process.
I started carrying this. So like at this point, I'm not even sure I have your cell phone. I started carrying this. Shout out to Richard Mashburn, RTO National, RTO provider. He turned me onto this Mobilo card. Have you seen these?
Oh, cool. Yeah, with the QR code.
Yeah,
sure.
You'll have to scan that with your phone before we get out of here.
Sure.
It'll give you my info. This is the way I do things now, right? So like I'm thinking, do I go to Vistaprint? I'm getting ready to go to the Shed Expo soon.
Yes.
Just came back from the bash, and I'm going, do I print out a whole bunch of cards, or do I pay for this? And everybody who comes by, beep, just scan it with your phone. You've got my info, and this is just a way of communication. Matter of fact, you're supposed to actually be able to touch your phone, I think, just like to their phone, and it gives you. I just haven't. I'm not as smart as Richard, so I hope he hears this episode. I'm not as smart as him, so I haven't figured that part out. Richard, I need help. This is what's a lot of fun in this industry, and being able to help people is even more fun. Building the relationships, but then actually watching those happen. Sometimes people are skeptics, or sometimes they just don't know. Hey, I don't know about calling this guy John. I don't know him. It's like you sitting down for a podcast. Wait a minute. I've never done this. Don't know what I'm doing. So let's put them at ease. Let's walk them through the process. They call and they do a demo. Sure. Take it from there. What's the setup and the whole system look like?
Sure. Yeah. So first, usually, when a customer calls in, we're going to have a one-on-one conversation with them, get to learn a little bit more about what their needs are and their business. At that point, we're going to figure out what product's the best for them, because as Diversified Payments, we came up with the name because we've got a diversified portfolio of products. We're not just a one-trick pony, one size fits all. So once we do find what's best for them, we're going to schedule a demo for them at their convenience, and we get on a Zoom call or a Google Meet type call. And we're going to do a screen share. So they're going to see exactly what the screen looks like, what the process looks like, how everything works. we're not limited to just one demo. You know, I always feel like the one demo is kind of that icebreaker. Let's check it out and see if we like it. But then they've got to bring in their team. You know, who's really going to be using the system.
Yep.
So we don't have any limit on that stuff, and we want to make sure they're comfortable. We provide live 24/7 support. My wife will tell you most of the time it's me calling back on the weekends or late after hours, even though we do have a fully staffed 24/7 U.S.-based call center or a live center here that handles all that stuff. But I'm pretty on the forefront of it when a call does come in, or I see a ticket come through my email or a text message that somebody did call in. I want to know firsthand that they got serviced right and everything was handled properly.
So let's say they move forward. They actually have equipment.
Sure.
That they do I have to purchase this equipment or?
You know, working with you guys, I think we'd love to offer free equipment and free equipment replacement, you know, throughout the life of the agreement for anybody that's coming to us through the Shed.
I was about to say I should have paid you $5 before we got started to say I negotiated that agreement.
It's everything's only as good as long as it works, you know, and
right.
You can go to Square, you sign up, they send you this little plastic reader and it's a Bluetooth connected reader. That's awesome. It's like anything else, time and dust and dirt from being in a truck, being in and out and stuff, it's going to break, it's going to fault, and then you got to pay $79, $80, $100, whatever it is. So we're all about the relationship. You know, we understand it's important for people to process payments. And if something goes down, we're going to go ahead and send you a call tag, send the broken one back. We're going to send you a replacement overnight. You know, next day you'll be able to do it. And we also have got, online payment. So something happens, equipment goes down, you could always call in the 800 number, process payments over the phone if you need to. So you're never left stranded with us. We're always going to have you covered and really be your partner in payments.
Do you have an app or are you thinking about app development?
Yeah, we are. We're we've got some payment portals right now that are developed, and we use for auto finance, a lot of stuff. I think the one thing that we found in talking to more of the Shed folks is the database CRM, part of it that was lacking. So we're in the process of developing that and putting the two together. I think it's going to be a great fit.
We're a bit slow to adapt technology, being a conservative industry, I think, and I mean it's just okay to say that, and sometimes that's good, right? Somebody's got to hold the line, I guess. But I think that one thing I've been kind of like beating a dead horse on here is we're slow to it because we're a conservative industry. But I'm not saying that's bad, because there's still a good way to do business called, cash, for the majority of places that do take it, and good customer service and a pen and paper and just a good old boy who knows how to sell.
Sure.
And then you have these second and third generation emergence of professional salespeople. I mean, you're starting to see like degrees in professional sales. Not that really matters, because if you go get a degree, you don't have to pay for it, I guess. I'm not bitter or anything about it, but you're starting to see all of these different things develop, the maturity in the sales process. And part of that's going to be learning how to take these payments. Some real numbers. Let's say I'm selling a good sales lot. I would think sells $1 million in sheds a year. That's a good profitable. There's some that do 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. I don't know. I've heard some other rumors, but you might see, someone who's just maybe a consignment dealer who has a full-time work, but if their company signs on, that particular dealer might sell $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in sheds a year. What does that look like in savings for those companies?
You're probably looking somewhere in the ballpark of $35,000 to $50,000 a year if they're passing all the fees.
Yeah.
So keep in mind we've got really 3 different models. We've got the, you pay, which is the merchant. They're going to go ahead and pay all their fees like they probably are right now. We've got a shared pay model, which is surcharging, and I think it's compliant in almost all states with the exception of Connecticut and Massachusetts don't allow it. Maybe there's one other, I forget. But in surcharging model, it allows you to pass the fee for a credit card back to the customer. So you eliminate the credit card processing fee, but you absorb the debit card fee. Debits are processed at a much lower rate, somewhere between 0.5% to maybe 1.25%, would it be it?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a shared pay model that we have. And then we have you pay. The customer's going to pay that whole model. And in that sense, we operate and set up just like a gas station when you go and you see dual pricing, cash, credit, price. Our system builds everything in. So on the checkout page, if it's on the website, if it's on a credit card terminal, it's going to show cash, credit, price, the customer versus credit, and that fee is automatically added in there. That fee is automatically credited towards the monthly bill, and that's how we eliminate, that fee for those guys.
Very nice. And there's somebody there at the office. There's reps that'll explain that. I mean,
Yes.
if they call in or if they, you said diversifiedpayments.com again. Is there a phone number too associated with it?
Yes, it's on the website. It's
Okay.
800-621. Oh boy, you're going to stump me on that one.
That's all right. Good. I had to get you on something.
I think it's 0890, but it's on the website.
It's on the website.
Yes.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of believing that people work with and buy from people that they trust. More on your personal story. I mean, so you wear cowboy boots in here. You are from Texas, but you're from California. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. Do we hold that against him or not? All the California listeners are going to say, no.
Don't tell too many people here about that. I think I've been welcomed. I've been here long enough, and I've been welcomed.
Become a
here.
Texan.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure.
We moved. I love California. It's a great state, and we've got a lot of friends and family there, and we get out there and visit a couple times a year for extended stays, and we do love it there. But there was something about Texas, especially with young kids and another baby on the way, raising our family here.
Yeah.
When I grew up in a small town, and on Sundays was a day of church.
Yeah.
There wasn't a shopping store open. You can go to the butcher and you can, get meat, and families congregated together after church, and you ate and you played outside, and, it was a different day and age. And the first thing when I ever came, I came to Texas, I was rodeoing, I was hauling some horses for some girls out here, and it was a Sunday, and I got up and I'm going, man, there's just, nothing other than Sonic open over here in town,
Yeah.
or Walmart and Sonic. That was it, and it was pretty interesting. And the longer I stayed, the more people that came into contact here. It was just a small town feel, which I loved. I went to the dry cleaners one time in my town, Stephenville, Texas, and the next day I showed up there. The next time I showed up with my dry cleaning, they knew me by name. They knew what I was. They knew I want my jeans starch.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Heavy starch on the jeans, light starch on your shirts, and I'm going, man, I surely didn't leave that good an impression here. But it was the small town feel, being able to do business on a handshake, and really great people, and that was everything for us. That's what we believe, and that's what we stand by. We just love that. It took me back in time seeing that. Here, church is still a focus, someplace in this world, and God, and God and family first. And that's the beauty of it. So that's what we're all about.
Man, I love it. That fits in perfectly to the industry. I feel like it's the nuclear family. We've been talking about it over the last week to the point where I'm almost exhausted, but it's very important. And yeah, it seems like it's under attack in some respects. And so to have people in business and to have people who have the same attributes and the same mindset to say, wait a minute, I can do both. I can do business, I can make money, and I can also not have a love of money, but a love of service, and to serve others is really what it boils down to. Those are the people that I want to continue to partner with. Yes, I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I think it's kind of hidden in the industry. I think most people come in and most even website developers and, hey, we can process through Square, Stripe or whatever. But there's this new company. There's this new sheriff in town called Diversified Payments, and they can do something better for you, save you some money. And I think that's what matters, and build a relationship through the whole thing.
And we're not going to censor the president.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know where their dollar goes, and it's important to me, especially raising kids and having a family. I start looking at things a lot more than I did years ago.
Sure.
Living single and carelessly almost, to a point, to a fault. But, I'm concerned now when I'm involved in a business, if I'm making a donation to a charity, and God knows, we got kids in school every other week. There's some other charity we're getting involved in.
Yeah, I get it.
I like to know where my money goes and what I'm supporting, and especially when I see another small business that I can be helping, that's important to me. I think a lot of people don't know, and I'm not bashing. Listen, I think Square, I think Stripe, those guys are, like we said, I'm David, they're Goliath. They're master companies. They built great technology.
Yeah.
They got a great platform.
Yeah.
But once we really look outside of the deal and start talking about, Big Brother, where's all the data going?
Sure.
How are you giving all this away for free? And, if you ever notice, God forbid you're on social media, next thing you know, you see a million Square ads, you know what I mean? Or
without
ads.
a doubt. We'll have some on there today.
Yeah. And these are companies, these are companies that had the power to censor the president, which I don't care. We're all entitled to our opinions, which side you're on. Doesn't matter to me. That's your opinion. You're entitled to that. And we support you either way. But the big picture, growing up, I'm 51 years old now. Growing up, you kind of look at let's respect the country, the president, the flag, all these things were important. And the next thing you know, you see, God, here's a tech company that I'm supporting, and these guys have the power to suppress the president and kick him off their platform and not put out there his message and stuff. And
a lot of power.
Yeah, whether it was good or bad or right or wrong, it's still something to think about when you're doing business with a company.
Yeah, no, there is certainly a bottom line, and with a conservative crowd, they don't always move fast. You know what I mean? They want to take the time to move, be in prayer about and thought about those things. But man, I really think that what you're offering is a no-brainer. You build the relationship, you provide trust, and you're providing value. Again, those platforms have done well and good for them, but there does become a point of corporate that almost gets out of touch in every situation. So love what you're doing for sure. Anything else that you would want to share with the guests? What's some of the most important things that you would want to in your years of finance that you would want to share? We can wrap it up soon, and I know you've got a call.
Sure.
But what would be your grand piece of advice that you would say moving forward in the shed industry, knowing what it is, listening to the podcast, educating yourself more on this industry? What advice would you give the most?
I think the most important thing is it's your business. It's your bottom line at the end of the day. And every penny counts. It really does. And I think it's important to know what you're paying, what you could be paying, what options are out there. Like I said, we're talking about 1% savings. 1% may not get anybody up out of bed, you know what I mean? But if you really pencil it out and look at it, and then, I think I was telling you, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Tony Robbins, who I didn't think I'd be such a fan of, but he's
I gotta be honest with you, like Gary Vee and I've probably listened to him more. Of course, he's got some, a lot of language that you kind of got to get through. I listen to Les Brown because he's just this big motivator, Eric Thomas and some of these guys. But Tony initially come off to me, I was like, I don't know. Family Guy did a little episode where they were teasing and making fun of Tony, and I was like, I don't know if I get with this guy, Jim Rohn. He's been mentioned on the show before and things like that, but Tony does add value, right? So tell me more about him. Because
Tony's got Mastering Your Money, I think it is the one I'm in now, and it's awesome. Listen, I've got kids and young kids and a family, and you start thinking now, God, I got to be putting money away for college, especially, listen, everyone in the shed business, I think we're all independent. We're all entrepreneurs, independent, so we don't have a company's 401k to fall back on or some of these investments. Tony's opened my eyes up to a lot of stuff in that book, and it really comes down to, talking about him for a second is mutual funds, and the fees that are added on it, and it was just eye-opening to me, and I'm thinking, oh my God, wait a minute, I'm putting all this money in my mutual fund, and Tony's telling me if I had $1 million in it, once they take their fees out at the end, I only have $500,000. I want to figure those things out now. Sooner, not later.
Yeah.
And I think with the payment processing piece, there's a lot of money on the table. There's the potential to save a lot of money. And with that money, use it usefully. Whether you want to donate more to your church and give back to your community in some way, you want to add to your 401k, add to your kids. That's the reason we're in business. We've been in business every day to make money and for financial freedom. And I think Diversified Payments, that's our goal. We want to help you understand the fees that are involved, and provide the transparency in credit card processing and payment processing fees. We also want to offer you the ability to eliminate them altogether.
Yeah. Well, one more time, diversifiedpayments.com. If they want to call, they can get the number from the website. We're going to do a Google form where basically people can fill out that information if they contact you through the Shed Geek Podcast. We'll put that out on social media platforms, also put that out on, I don't know, maybe do some YouTube commercials or something like that. Guys, please go check out Shed Geek at YouTube. I'm trying to be a big old goofball and entertain you guys. I hope you appreciate that and I get a good laugh. I hope it brings some humor to your day and just something positive to you. Education through entertainment continues to be the tagline. Rising tide lifts all boats. Tyler Mahan initially set that into motion, and I just felt the desire to carry that torch. But let's see. I'm trying to think of what else. We'll put that in the weekly newsletter. If you don't subscribe to the weekly newsletter, just go to the website and subscribe. Man, I appreciate what you're doing. I want to introduce you to as many people as I can. I hope that it helps them, and I hope that it helps you. And if there's something to gain from it, well, then I just hope that God would oversee that and open my eyes to it, that I would use that in a way that's pointing to his direction. So love being here in Texas. You guys are cool. I mean, it's seriously, there's all the barrels, the leather, the dead animals on the wall. I love it all. Like all the galvalume here, all the brick.
Funny, we were talking about sheds and tiny home. So we just sold one, and I think Mervin, who was on your show, he just picked it up and hauled it. And,
Mervin Vargas,
we took a little 16 by 40 shed. Believe it or not, we lived in that 640 square foot space for a year on our ranch. My wife and two boys and I, and we did all the galvalume ceilings. And the walls, very similar to what we're seeing here with the old barn tin and stuff. And it really was an awesome space. We got so much. Such a reaction from everybody that ever came. And from the outside, it just looks like a little shed that you see driving through every town on the side of the road for sale. And then all of a sudden you open the door and you're going, wow, look at this, vaulted ceilings, tin. And the people that bought it from us, they were using it for a second home for their mom. She was ill and they're moving her on the property, but didn't want to move her into the property. So that was really interesting.
So you had a cool introduction to the space. And man, anything I can do is hope that you, I'd like to see you service the majority of the clients in the shed industry. That'd be really cool, because I really think that you can do something that's going to save them money. I got guys in mind that I think of that over the last year or two have talked about, how do I save more money in the payment processing part of it. And I'm like, gosh, it seems like all we know is Square, Stripe, PayPal. Like it's, is anybody investing into looking for alternatives? So I feel that's God ordained and the opportunity for us to meet. Appreciate you. I'll do like a quick little prayer, if you don't care, over the industry and your efforts as you move forward. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity just to continue to find like-minded people in this industry. I ask that you'd bless them and their businesses as they move forward. Father, I would ask that you just continue to watch over the whole industry, that you'd move us forward with a spirit of cooperation. Just ask that you would continue to lead us, guide us, direct us as a country. Appreciate and love you so much for the faithfulness that you continue to show us as we walk in obedience. We'd ask that you would just continue to watch over John and his business and help move him forward whatever way you see fit. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. It's just a pleasure to get to meet you. Yeah, I know you got to get to a phone call, but I'm looking forward to a long-term relationship knowing you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the phone, and make sure you get some chicken fried steak while you're out here. And
I'm going to do it. My buddy told me to go to I don't remember. He sent me 5 links to so many places to go to. There's no way I'm going to be able to go to all of them. Steak and country fried steaks and Tex-Mex and just everything.
Sure.
I love it down here. I need to bring my wife down here, and we just need to live for like a month down here.
It's a lot of fun. It's
yeah.
a lot of
then
fun.
we can go back to Illinois with our chin on our chest. So. Thanks so much, man.
Hey,
Pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Thank you.